Welcome, everyone, to Roswell. Time for Hobbs Eagle basketball. Live on Cool 95.7 on the radio, HobbsAmerica.com, the YouTube Hobbs Sports page, and the Cool 95.7 Facebook page on the internet. I'm Ty Friend. Tiffany Stuber back at the station tonight as your Hobbs Eagles get ready for their second game of district as they take on the Roswell High Coyotes. Of course, Eagles getting the big victory at home to open up the district schedule, 76-48, 28-point victory over Clovis, and they were actually up by 35 at one point in the second half. Could not get it back up to mercy roll, but a big win nonetheless for the Hobbs Eagles to get that record to 1-0 in district. And taking a look at some of the numbers in that ball game, including for the Hobbs Eagles, they had 3 in double digits. That was Braddock Beatty with 14 points, 8 rebounds. He was knocking on the door of a double-double in that game, 1 of 2 from the charity stripe, and hit a tray in the third quarter. Also scoring big for the Eagles was Malachi David. He finished with 13 points. He was 3 of 4 for the charity stripe. He had a couple of trays for Hobbs and finished with 5 rebounds. But the top scorer of the game, Josiah Clay, 17 points, 3 for 4 from the line. Also knocked down a couple of trays himself and had 2 rebounds. So Beatty and David and Clay combining for 44 of the Hobbs Eagles total of 76 points in that victory. A couple other people getting in the books for the Eagles. Jalen Sanders coming off the bench for 7 points, 1 of 2 on the line. Also dumping in 7, Lyric Surrey, of course, the point guard for the Eagles with a trade, 2 for 2 free throw shooting and 4 rebounds. Javen Hernandez coming back from injury as well with 5 points and 3 boards for the Eagles. So a sprinkling of other scores for Hobbs in that game. Eagles were able to knock in 8 3-pointers in the contest compared to 5 for Clovis. Eagles got 33 rebounds. Clovis got them by 3 boards, 36-33, but guys were getting involved for sure on the glass. Braddock Beatty leading with 8, 5 for Malachi David, 4 apiece for Soria and Proby. So when the Eagles start cleaning glass, that is what you're going to see for victories for Hobbs. That's a 28-point win for the Eagles. Free throw shooting 12 of 19 for 63%. Hobbs did have 14 turnovers, but that was 9 less than Clovis, who finished up with 23. They had 10 in the first half, 13 in the second half. So Eagles definitely tightening the screws on the defense in that ball game. Clovis finished with 2 in double digits. Buddha Curry and Luke Carpenter both getting 13 in that ball game. But defense really was where it was at. And poor free throw shooting for Clovis. They finished 3 of 13 for 23%. So definitely something in practice I'm sure they're addressing before they play the Hobbs Eagles again. Eagles got the win, 13-8 record on the season, and they're definitely ready for their second district game. This was the reschedule from last week. Early in the week, we had the big winter storm Fern coming through, so they canceled the Tuesday game and moved it a week later to this week, which would have been an off week for a lot of the teams. So Roswell and Hobbs will hook it up here. Now, last Tuesday, a couple days back, it was a Carlsbad Caveman squad that opened the district with the win over Roswell by 13, 64-51. Jeremy Sombrano, though, for the Coyotes for Roswell had 19 points. Laz Cheadle finished with 14. So those two combined for 33, which is much more than half of their total outcome of 51 in a losing cause. Now, that's kind of a head-scratcher because if you take a look the week before that, the Tuesday of the week, the Eagles played Artesia. Roswell actually beat Artesia, so that's a pretty impressive win over a 4A number 1 team in the state. So they got the victory against the Bulldogs. The final in that one was a 10-point win for Roswell, 66-56. So you got to remember, too, a few days later, Hobbs was defeated by Artesia on their court by a 12-point margin. So Roswell beat Artesia by 10. Hobbs lost Artesia by 12 a few days later. So that kind of gives you an idea. Roswell won that game, their 10-point win over Artesia here at home in Roswell. Of course, the Eagles lost their game on the road, and Artesia still remains number 1 in the 4A. There's been some common opponents so far this season for both Hobbs and Roswell. West Mesa, a team the Eagles faced at the Albuquerque Metro Tournament. Hobbs beat them by 14. Roswell lost to them by just 1 point back in December 19th. Orchid Mountain out of Las Cruces. Eagles beat them by 1. Roswell did a better job, 15-point winner in that ball game. Las Cruces High, who is ranked 4th in the state currently in the Max Preps Bowl. Eagles lost by 14 at home. Roswell lost worse by 19 in that game. Against the Mayfield Trojans on the road for Hobbs in Las Cruces, Eagles won by 6. Roswell actually lost that game by 5. The Centennial Hawks, Eagles beat by 3. and Roswell lost by 4. So there's several games where the Eagles had an advantage in terms of wins versus losses for Roswell against the same opponent, although the Artesia game is a big exception with that 10-point victory for Roswell. The Coyotes also faced number 2 ranked Rio Rancho, a team the Eagles have not played yet. 71-51, Roswell losing by 20 in that game back on January 16th. So probably the biggest feather in the cap so far for Roswell is that win over Artesia, and thus they have an 11-10 record on the season. Last year the Coyotes went 24-8, 5-2 in district, and coincidentally those 2 losses were to Hobbs. They did go to the first round of the tournament, beat Farmington on the road 76-42. That was a 34-point win for Roswell. Lost in the quarterfinals to Volcano Vista, who always seems to be in the championship of the state. They lost to them 70-43 to wrap up their season once again at 24-8. The Eagles went 3-1 against Roswell last year. The first game was a win for the Coyotes, 91-73 in that game. And it was a pretty tough contest for the both teams in the squads, and we'll get back to that here in just a minute. They're getting ready for the announcements here in Roswell. We're going to take a quick 90-second break. Hobbs and Roswell, game 2 of the district coming up. Be back with us in a minute and a half. Go. Welcome back to Roswell High. Your Hobbs Eagles get ready to take on the Coyotes. Game 2 of district. Roswell 0-1 after losing to Carlsbad on Tuesday. The Hobbs Eagles victorious with their 28-point victory over the Clovis Wildcats. Right before the break, we were talking about the series last year. Hobbs winning 3 games, losing 1. I kind of misspoke right before the break there. Hobbs won that first game, 91-73. Eagles managing 7 3-pointers in that ball game. Abraham Pena led with 23 points. Hodge had 21 and Turbiatis 14. Lyric Sori had a big game against Roswell in that first matchup. He had 11. Beatty added 6, Clay 4, and Hernandez had 2. So several guys returning from last year's team. On the other side of the coin, Roswell hit 11 trays in that first district game last year. The guy that returns for them, and he's a good scorer this year as well, Jeremy Sobrano, he finished with 13. Les Cheadle had 5 in that game. And Barola, the coach's son, ended up with 3. So those guys return for the Roswell squad. The second game was when Roswell won at home here. Abraham Pena was 26 in the game. Henderson had 12. And Turbiatis a double-double, 11 points and 12 rebounds. Eagles lost by 10. And Sombrano for Roswell had 21 points. He was the second leading scorer in that game for Roswell. The Palomino kid who graduated had 31. So it's nice he's not in uniform this year. Hobbs won game 3 at Tasker Arena, 76-68. And boy, they were outshot from the three-point range. 9 for Roswell, 2 for Hobbs, and still got the victory. Returning for the Eagles, Beatty had 11 in that game, and also Clay finished with 2. So they definitely stepped up big. Turbiatis with 29, the graduate, and Pena had 16 in that game. Rebounds definitely the difference for Hobbs, 36-21 to pull out the victory. Sombrano finished with 11, and Laz Cheadle had 2 for guys that are returning this year for Roswell. And then another game that the Eagles faced Roswell for the district championship. That 76-68 game, by the way, was the pre-playoff game for the seeding of the district tournament. Hobbs won the district championship over Roswell, and the final in that one was a 20-point win at Tasker, 70-50. Sombrano did manage 14 for the Roswell Coyotes in a losing cause. And guys returning for Hobbs, Beatty had 11. Also, Soria finished up with 8 points and 2 3-pointers, big ones in the fourth quarter. Clay had 7 in that game, and Hernandez with 2. Great defense for Hobbs at home, 13 steals, and made 18 turnovers for Roswell. So again, 3-1 record against Roswell last year. Of course, the Coyotes got knocked out in the quarterfinals again against Volcano Vista. 11-10 record for the Coyotes. And now tonight, 13-8 for the Eagles. Roswell will start Tony Serrano, Jeremy Sombrano, Andrew Fuentes, Troy Barola, and Laz Cheadle for your Hobbs Eagles. Braddock Beatty, Malachi David, Lyric Soria, also Josiah Clay, and Adarius Proby. David leads the team at 14.7 a contest. Soria with 13.1, Beatty 10.8, Clay at 12. And also for one other player, Proby, he's 5.2. The tip into the backcourt, and we are underway here in Roswell. Eagles with the first possession. Coming across the timeline is Soria, dishes out to Beatty on the left side. He'll hold the basketball, trying to set up some offense. Back to Soria at the time stripe. Dumps it back to Malachi David to the left corner with a big jab step. He's looking around for some help. He'll dump it back to deep to the timeline as resetting to Lyric Soria to get this started again. No attempts at the basket yet. Over to Proby on the right wing. Hand off to Soria. Gives it to Beatty on the handoff. Dribbles up top against a 2-3 expanded zone to Clay on the left wing. Drives to the left elbow. Kicks it back to David. Eagles being very patient out on the perimeter. Now on the left side is David. To Soria left corner. Fakes a shot. Drives the lane. Gets blocked. He's going to chase it down on the left wing to reset. Up top to Clay. Fakes a tray. Drives the lane, hippity hop, reverse layup, right side, no good. Proby comes down with it for the Eagles, goes back up and comes off the rim. Chased down by Proby on the left sideline, his second board. Proby will hold it, but he gets it ripped out of his hands. That'll be the first turnover for the Eagles. Roswell basketball now in the front court. Shot from three-point range, left side, and nothing but net as Prentice drills it. Early score of 3-0 as the Roswell Coyotes take the early lead. Coming across the timeline for the Eagles is Soria. As he slows it down, bear with us on the technology tonight. We're having some issues with our internet. They try to throw a pass down low, and it sails out to the baseline for the Eagles. And that'll be another turnover, 2 in a row now for Hobbs. And the Eagles are going to match up man-to-man on the full-court pressure defense. Roswell wearing the white uniforms with the black numbers. Hobbs in the black travel unis and the gold numbers. Inbound to the left corner, slip down the sideline on the pass from Sombrano. Gets it across to the right wing. Clay backdoor, shot from the left block, and scoring off the glass is Cheadle for his first bucket. Inbound to Clay in the backcourt. Hobbs down 5-0 now here in Roswell. Soria's going to slow it down. On the R logo, gives off to Clay on the left wing. He's going to fire up a tray off the back of the rim, no good. Pulled down and put back up on the right block by Proby for his first bucket. And already 3 rebounds for Adarius Proby. 5-2 your score. Long passing in the backcourt for Roswell. Breaking across for the Coyotes is Serrano. Gets it down left corner, underneath the hoop. Pulling it down is Cheadle to reset. Spins to the right baseline, leans and shoots. Hits off the front of the rim, no good. Ball loose in the paint. Clay's going to come up with it, and then it's tied up quickly for the jump ball. And that will be the arrow going to be going to the Hobbs Eagles. 5-2 score. Hobbs down 3 here. Now they'll give it to Roswell underneath the hoop on the right baseline. Inbounding is Serrano. Dips it in right block. Cheadle with a fadeaway jumper, no good. Pulled down by Proby. Boy, he's a one-man wrecking crew with the rebound so far. That's his 4th. Does it head to Clay on the right wing. Tries to tuck and put his head down and drive past Barola. But the coach's son's going to get called for the foul. That's his first team foul against the Coyotes. Eagles trying to get some penetration going here. Roswell playing pretty stout defense, keeping the paint clogged up. Inbounding on the right baseline is Soria. Finally got Beatty open in the right corner. Jab step, runs baseline, runs over his defender, and falling to the floor is Barola. Almost a second foul on him. He didn't say it was incidental contact. Ball gets knocked out of bounds off of Beatty, and that'll be the Eagles' third turnover of the ball game, trailing 5-2. Pass towards half court to be brought across by Serrano. Dish it to the right corner. Barola fakes a three. Back to the right wing to Cheadle. He fires a three himself, and the big man puts it through. He's got 5 of the 8 Roswell points. It's now 8-2 in favor of the Coyotes. Here comes Clay now, shot from the left elbow on the run, and swishes it through. Nice follow through for Josiah Clay. And now 8-4 as Roswell doubles up on the Eagles. Pass to the top of the arc in the backcourt is brought down by Zambrano. Gets it ahead to Cheeto, goes to the rack with a little finger roll right side, no good. Rebound on the left wing by Fuentes. His first fires up an 18-footer off the back of the rim, no good. Surrey with his first rebound for the Eagles. He's in transition off the dribble now on the front side. Far left sideline. One hands it up top to Clay to set up the O. Clay will get picked up on D by Serrano. Just holds the ball. 5-second count is on. Dribbles behind his back to the right wing. Step back. Pass up top to David. Over the left wing to Proby. Proby uses up his dribble. Returns back to David at the top of the arc. Hands off to Beatty. Top of the circle as well. Behind to Soria. Fakes a three. Dribbles back to the time stripe. Gives to David on the high post right. Outside the three-point line. To Proby. Top of the circle. Proby with the jab step against Zambrano. Clay comes and gets it. Screen from Proby. Spins to the left wing to the free throw line. Flicks it back to Soria. Soria dribbling through his legs. Step back and three on the left side off the rim. No good. Cheeto with the rebound. That'll be his first of the ball game. Throws it across the time stripe. Far right sideline to Zambrano. Dribbles up top. He's one of their killer scorers. Backs it out to the time stripe to set up the offense for the Coyotes. Getting a screen up top from Serrano. Drives the right side of the lane. Fadeaway jumper from the baseline off the back of the rim. Pulled down for the Eagles by Malachi David. Not wasting any time to get it ahead. Beatty comes down with it after the deflection. Takes it to the rack. Lays it up over the right side and scores. It's 8-6. Beatty with his first bucket. And we got a knock ball out of bounds. So Eagles so far have had 3 scores, all with 2 points apiece. Beatty, Clay, and Proby. An 8-6 your score here in the first quarter. Went out on the Eagles, or are they going to give it to Hobbs possibly here? Yeah, knocked out by the Coyotes. That'll be their first turnover. 3-1 count on the turnover so far. Eagle basketball underneath the hoop, trailing by 2. Surrey inbound left base. Goes it to the left side of the paint to Hernandez, who just checked in. Javen up top to David. Swing it right to Beatty. He's open for a 3-shot and a swisher. Big time hit for Braddock Beatty. 5 points for him, the first tray of the ball game. And now 9-8 your score. Eagles are starting to come back in this contest. As they get into the front court, do the Coyotes. Eagles by 1, their first lead. At the top of the arc is Sobrano. Tries to get through 2 defenders and gets squeeze play, top of the circle, as they call the foul against Hobbs. Trying to see who they call that against. I believe it's Beatty. Yes, that'll be Beatty's first personal. First team foul against the Eagles. Roswell basketball underneath the hoop. Eagles up 9-8. 5 points for Beatty to lead the squad. Inbound to Cheeto for the Coyotes right corner, guarded by David. Keeps it same side to Fuentes. Back to the right wing to Zambrano for 3 out the back of the rim, no good. And David rips it down underneath the hoop. He's going to sit it ahead to Beatty. David now with 2 rebounds. And he gets the ball back top of the circle. Takes a dribble on the right side of the hippie hop. Bad pass taken away by Barola for the Coyotes. That'll be the Eagles' 4th turnover. Sends it to the left corner for a 3. In and out, no good. Loose at the free throw line. It's chased down by Zambrano, but stripped away by Beatty near the time stripe. He lays it up and in for 2. Beatty on fire. He's got 7 points. That'll be Roswell's 2nd turnover. 11-8 your score. Eagles up by the 3, their biggest lead of the ball game. Roswell basketball coming across the timeline. Losing it off his knee, though, is Zambrano. Tight defense by Clay. It rolls out towards the Hobbs Eagle bench as Clay gets some big pressure on their guard, Zambrano. Roswell basketball near the scores table. Inbound to the backcourt, put in the hands of Fuentes. Taking on Beatty through the time stripe. Kick it down left corner. Zambrano turns and fires a 3. Nothing but net. 2nd tray of the game for Roswell. They have just tied it up at 11 apiece. It's a close one here with 2:15 remaining in the first. As Beatty will come across the timeline against Zambrano. Dribbles around the right circle with a handoff to Clay. Clay backs out of his defender, Zambrano. Crossover through his legs, comes to the top of the arc, gives it off to Proby on the left wing. Handoff, with a jab step now to Sanders, who had just checked in, up top to Clay. Bounce pass to Hernandez on the right elbow, kick right to Beatty. Another three firing away. This one off the left rim, tipped up in the air, rebounded by Fuentes for his second board for Roswell. We're tied at 11, 1:45 left first quarter. Ball comes across the timeline to Zambrano in the right wing. He'll hold it out there as Clay will step out on D. Gets a screen from Cheadle, doesn't use it, kicks it down to the right corner to Fuentes. Fuentes underhands it to Cheadle up top, swinging left side to Barola, drives free throw line, hippity hop, jump stop, tries to lean into his defender, takes a few shuffle stats before the football helmet went down as he ran right into the chest of Beatty. They called the travel first. That'll be the third turnover for Roswell High. And there's been 4 for the Eagles so far here in this first quarter. Still tied at 11 with 1:28 left in the first. Coming across the timeline after the inbound is Soria. Guarded by Zambrano. Unloads to Proby on the left wing. Hand back to Soria. Tries to bounce it off to the Eagles on the far left, and Sanders got a piece of it. Luckily touched last by Fuentes. Hobbs will retain possession on the far left sideline. Hobbs was going to get a sub in there, but they decided not to. Getting ready to put in Hendrick Sullivan, pulled him back out. Inbound to Soria on the left wing. Throws a high one up top to Sanders. Sanders one-hands it to Hernandez right wing. Down to right corner to Proby. His three shot off the side of the rim, no good. And put up back by Beatty over the front of the iron. He's got a rebound now and 9 points. Eagles up 13-11. Their biggest lead has been 3. Here comes Roswell. Pass down court to Barola left corner. Drives the lane. Head fake. Reverse slam with his left hand and scores. Barola with his first bucket. We are tied at 13. Eagles not going to waste any time. Into the front court comes Soria. Sends it over to left wing to Sanders. Fakes it 3. Drives baseline. Double team. Out Hernandez on the left wing. To Beatty left side as well. Back deep to Soria. Fadeaway 3. Swishes it through. Second tray of the game for the Eagles. Now 16-13, matching their biggest lead of 3. 28 seconds left first quarter. Long pass wide open as Barola with 2 hands going up strong and scores back to back. He's got 4. Another bucket for Roswell, 16-15. Eagles by 1 with 17 seconds left in the opening quarter. Pass to Proby in the front court, left wing, back deep to Beatty at the time strike. Letting the clock run down to 10 seconds. Coming out on him is Zambrano. Screen coming for Hernandez. He takes it, gets rammed into, ball loose at the timeline. Got away at the foul on that one. 3 shot at the other end, and the right wing is an air ball. So the Eagles end up on a turnover, but boy, did he get banged into by the Roswell defense. They got real lucky that wasn't called at the time strike. We're at the end of 1 here at Roswell. Boy, a track meet for the Hobbs Eagles and the Roswell Coyotes. Hobbs 16, Roswell 15, back in 60 on the Hobbs Eagle Network. Welcome back to live action here at Roswell. Your Hobbs Eagles lead Roswell 16-15 by 1. Scoring for Roswell in the first quarter, Cheadle 5, Barola 4, and a tray apiece for Zambrano and Fuentes. 4 scores so far. Eagles scoring led by Braddock Beatty. He's got 9, including 1 tray. 3 points for Soria off a tray, the second tray of the game. Clay had a bucket, and so did Proby. So 4 scores for the Eagles. Hobbs with 5 turnovers. 3 for Roswell. Both teams have had 1 foul apiece. No free throws yet for either squad attempted. Eagle basketball to start the second. It is 16-15. A steal on the pass down low, and Roswell gets the ball back quickly after their first defensive stand. 6 turnovers now for the Eagles. And Roswell ball at the top of the arc. Zambrano going to fire up a drop back 3, and he puts it through. Eagles backed up, and he made them pay his second tray of the ball game, and that is the 3rd for Roswell. They know how to drill them. They had a few games last year against the Eagles where they did that. Even though Hobbs was a 3-1 win-loss record against Roswell, including the district championship. 18-16 Roswell, bounce pass up top to Proby. Proby pivots, gets it back deep to Clay, comes around the left circle, over to Beatty left corner, firing up a three off the side of the rim, no good. Cheeto gets his second rebound underneath the big kid. An outlet to the near sideline to Sombrano. Taking his time with the little weave look on the dribble, coming to the front court in front of the Hobbs Eagle bench, left side. Step over three from the left side, air ball, might have got touched by the Eagles. Rebound underneath, pulled down by Troy Serrano, gives back left corner to Cheeto. Cheeto to the left wing to Sombrano, fakes a three, back to Cheeto for three in the corner, and he nails it. He's got 8 points on 2 trays. Big post player, football type of body, can shoot from the outside. 21-16, Roswell up by 5. Hobbs going to slow it down a little bit as Clay has it, right wing. Got a stoppage of action, and I believe we have a timeout on the court. Yes, we do. 6:40 remaining, second quarter. 21-16 your score. Roswell by 5. Coming back in 30 seconds on the Hobbs Eagle Network. Back after a timeout for the Hobbs Eagles. The Roswell Coyotes have went on a 6-0 run here to start the second quarter, leading 21-16. Coming off a tray by Sombrano, another tray by Cheadle. So 2 trays put through early. Only about a minute and 20 seconds into this second quarter. Eagle basketball after the timeout, down by 5. Inbound to Beatty at the time stripe, to the right wing to Clay, back to Beatty. Yo-yo pass over to Soria. He's going to fire a 3 left side. Hits off the side of the rim, no good. Rebound by Sombrano. Outlet to the far right to Cheeto, the big kid. Underhands it back to Sombrano, to the time stripe to Fuentes. Dribbles around the left circle. Guarded by Beatty, flicks it back to Sombrano, fakes it 3 on the left wing, bounce it one-hander up top to Fuentes. Comes around the right circle, hippity-hop, jump stop. In front of Clay, back deep to Cheeto on the right wing, far right sideline. Puts a screen on Soria, got away with a big foul there. Drives the left block, double clutch with a head fake, is fouled going up. And they're gonna get Cheeto for 2 free throws here. That'll only be the second foul of the ball game against the Hobbs Eagles. Wait to see who they got this against. That'll be Malachi David's first. Beatty has one before that in the first quarter. Now Cheeto on the line. He's got 2 trays and 8 points to lead both teams. Actually leading Roswell. Beatty leads both teams with 9. First free throw attempt of the game for either team. We had a very fast-moving first quarter. First shot is up, and a big break off the front of the rim, no good. This very young team for Roswell. Only 1 senior returns, Tony Serrano, 4 juniors, 5 sophomores, and 2 freshmen. So a lot of their big scores from last year, including Palomino, graduated. Malachi David tried to check in here, and the referee's telling him to tuck his shorts or shirt in the shorts, and is sending him back to the sideline. And now Proby's being sent back to the bench for some reason. Boy, they're taking a lot of time to take care of the wardrobes here. Officials are discussing shirts tucked in, who's supposed to be in, who's not supposed to be in. Proby might have had blood on his arm. He's right now talking to the training staff and going over to the water cooler. Looks like he's wiping some blood off of the one of his wrists there, his right wrist. Cheetah will be shooting the free throws for Roswell, that we know. Coach Ross is still trying to get an explanation. They're bringing David back to the sideline again. I guess they're just trying to prove a point here that if you're not ready to go when we bring you in, you're not going to come in on that play or not. But it is a dead ball anyway. We're shooting free throws, and you normally don't even sub on the first free throw anyway. So I'm not sure what the discussion's about. You can see down there a couple of referees talking to Ross, and Malachi David seems to be the focal point. He's going back out of the court now, leaves the coach and the referee to talk. And Raza went and talked to their coach for a minute, Coach Barola. So I'm not quite sure what that's all about. We do have Clay, David, Hernandez, Sanders, and Beatty on the court. Cheeto on the line for Roswell. Serrano in the paint. Also Sombrano. And Barola, the coach's son. Free throw is up and good. I guess they counted the basket. That was only 1 free throw. So 22-16, the score. Hobbs now down by 6, their biggest deficit of the ball game. here in the second. Beatty gets a pass right elbow, turns and fires at Jay. Nobody's stopping him. He's got 11. That's a swisher. 22-18, down by 4 now. Inbound to the far right sideline to Sobrano. Gets to the time stripe to Cheeto over the right wing. Driving hard to the corner, Ashung, who just checked in. He goes baseline. They're going to say he was held by Javen Hernandez. He tried to cut back up into the paint, coming underneath the hoop that time, and Hernandez is going to get the grip on him. Nice to see him back for his second game after the knee injury, which he pretty much had started during football season. Roswell basketball on the right baseline. Serrano gets into Cheeto, spin move, puts his shoulder down, rams into David, misses the shot at the back of the rim. David saves it. They're going to say he stepped on the line, though. Luckily, they called it out because Cheeto was the one who got the save right in the middle of the paint. He would have gone up and put that over the rim for 2. So Eagles got saved by the whistle by the official. Inbounding left baseline now is Serrano. Gets it in left corner to Sombrano. Guarded by Clay. Underhands it to Cheeto left wing. David backed up, and Cheeto makes him pay. That's his third tray of the ball game. 14 points for Cheeto, matching the point production he had against Carlsbad on last Tuesday. 25-18. They get it down. Hernandez in the corner. Kicks out left to Soria, and he puts a 3 through. Soria has 6 points. It's now 24-21 here in the second quarter. Quickly to the front court, coming down the lane, trying to go with the reverse slam, gets swatted in the air. Ashung pulled down by Hernandez and gets ahead to Soria. Soria with the spin move in the left corner. Pass over to Beatty on the right wing, drives baseline, a runner shot, air ball, pulled down by Serrano underneath the hoop. He gets knocked to the floor, sliding on his butt. Outlet to the far right sideline to Sombrano. 25-21. Sombrano trying to dribble hard. I think Coach Barola is going to stop the action here. Doesn't want to have a 10-second violation, gets a timeout. 4:48 left here in the second. It's Roswell 25, your Hobbs Eagles 21. Come back with us in 30 seconds on HobbsAmerica.com, YouTube, the Cool 95.7 Facebook page, and on the radio, Cool 95.7. Back live here in Roswell, Hobbs Eagle basketball on the internet and the radio for you tonight. The Eagles trail 25-21. They were up at the end of the one, 16-15. They have scored 5 points in this second and 10 for Roswell. Coyotes basketball coming across the timeline. Sobrano on the right wing, throws it back deep to Serrano. To the left side of Fuentes. Crossover move in the paint, and then he stumbled as he tried to pass before he could get loose of the ball over to Sombrano, waiting for a tray shot. Kind of moved a couple of feet, shuffle style, and that will be the 4th turnover for the Coyotes. Eagles have 6 so far and trailing by 4. Soria will throw it across the timeline, give it off to Clay on the left wing. Dribbles through 4 defenders, hippity hop, little finger roll over the front of the rim, no good. Ball tipped up in the air a couple of times. Pulled down by Clay, leads and shoots in the right block and scores. Clay used his body to push to the hole that time. 4 points and 2 rebounds for Josiah Clay. Quick dribble to the front court. Cheeto gets slid into, and belly first on the top of the arc. They do call the foul from behind, a little slide tackle. Coach Ross out of the court there. It looks like they call that on Javen Hernandez, his third team foul on the Eagles. A 3-0 foul count right now here in the second. 4:13 left before the half. It's 25-23 Roswell. Inbound comes in toward the time stripe to Sombrano. Kick it to the left wing to Serrano. One dribble and stop, pivoting. Behind him, Barola gets the pass, weaves through traffic, left block. Javen Hernandez ties him up on the left block. Came up with a big stout safety look from the football squad and gets the jump and the turnover for Roswell. That'll be 5 for them and the Eagle basketball. They could tie it up or take a lead with the tray here. Oh, wait a second. Now they're going to switch it. They're going to give it back to Roswell, so that's not a turnover. They'll retain possession. 4 turnovers for Roswell. Very close to getting another one there. Inbounding from the right baseline is Serrano underneath the Roswell hoop. Gets it into Sombrano for 3, an air ball over the left rim, but tip back up and in with 2 hands by Fuentes. He's got 5 points and 3 rebounds. Score now 27-23. Roswell extends their lead to 4. To Beatty in the left wing, cross-court right to Soria. Soria with the jab step, a double team, dumps it to David, right elbow. Back deep to Clay, fires up a 3 off the side of the rim, right, and a rebound by Sombrano, his 3rd. He'll take the dribble himself across the time stripe with 3:30 left in the half. Eagles down by 4. Waiting for a screen for the big man, Cheadle. Goes left, fires up an NBA 3, blocked by Beatty, rebound by Soria. Soria's going to take the dribble himself into the front court. Sends it down to the right wing to Hernandez. Back deep to Soria. NBA 3 off the front of the rim. Bouncing around, no good. Clay gets a rebound in the left block. Goes up strong, high off the glass, left side, and scores. 6 points and 4 rebounds for Clay. He's on fire. 27-25. Eagles down by 2. Here come the Coyotes. In the front court is Cheadle. Cheadle uses up his dribble on the left wing. Dumps it up top to Barola. Goes to his right hand off the dribble. Backs it out against the defensive David. Hands it off behind to Fuentes. Gets a screen shot from the left wing. Is blocked by Malachi David. Beatty comes down with it. Goes it ahead to David. A 1-2 and up shot in the middle of the lane. He gets bodied into the foul. They should count the bucket. Putting a body on him was Barola. That'll be his 2nd personal, 1st team foul. Count the bucket for David, his 1st basket. And a chance for a 3-point play here. 27-25. Malachi David on the season shooting 78%. One of the top free throw shooters on the team. And it's tied up now as they do count that basket. 27-27. Sullivan checks in now for the Eagles, Hendrick Sullivan, and now David will shoot that free throw to try to break the tie. And swishes it through. He's got 3 points. Eagles back up 28-27. 2:40 left here in the half. Pass up ahead to Cheadle on the left wing. Slides left, uses up the dribble, gives it back behind him to Fuentes. Back deep to the timeline to Sombrano. Picked up by Soria. Screen up top from Cheadle. Drives left wing. Drives a lane. Scoop is rejected by Clay. Hernandez gets a rebound. The far official with the late whistle calls a goaltend. They are going to count the basket. Boy, Coach Ross not happy about that one. So they will count the basket. So they're going to give Serrano the 2 points on it, and it will be Hobbs basketball. Coach Ross not happy at being so late of a whistle there. And now the official having a talk with, I think we got to a blood situation again. Official talking to Clay, something on his shoulder. We had a couple of players that had blood earlier. Proby, they were talking to David for some reason, and they're wiping off Clay there on the left side of the court. 29-28. Roswell up by 1 with 2:28 left in the second. Sullivan's in the game, Loyal Soria. Hernandez and David. Pass to Sullivan on the right wing. Dumps it into Clay on the right elbow. Tries to go back door to David. The ball knocked out. Loose on the right baseline. As Hernandez goes to the floor for it, he gets tied up. Diving on top of him was Barola. And that should be Hobbs Eagle basketball. They should not have a turnover on that one as Roswell dodged a turnover on their previous jump. Checking in for Roswell is DeBrice Ashung. Clock stop with 2:13 left here in the second. Still a 1-point Roswell lead. Surrey will be on the baseline to inbound. Told to tuck in his shirt. Refs are really sticking on the jerseys on this one. A high inbound to David in the right corner. Double team. Returns to Hernandez right wing. Back to Surrey right corner for 3. A high one and a right through the hole. Surrey has 3 trays in the game. And now a 31-29 lead for the Eagles. 2 minutes left in the half. Coming across the timeline with the dribble of Sombrano. Stop and go. All the way to the baseline. Goes to the rack. Double clutch is rejected by Hernandez from behind as the ball gets knocked out to the baseline. Eagle fans kind of holding their breath there, hoping it was going to be a foul call. Hernandez stayed right on top of the basketball and used a good, powerful stroke on top of it to knock it through the base. Barolo returns for Roswell. Has taken a seat to be Serrano. And now it's going to be Proby in for the Hobbs Eagles as Malachi David will take a breather. Roswell basketball left of the rim underneath their hoop. Inbounding is Fuentes. Soria trying to block his inbound. Has to chuck it back deep, going high in the air for it. Back at the top of the arc is Ashung. Gives it off left wing to Sombrano. Fakes it into NBA 3 as Clay steps out on him. Drives to the free throw line. Dumps it over the left wing to Cheadle. He'll drive baseline. Tucks and throws up a shot. Is foul. They count the basket off the glass and the foul as well. Cheadle continues to dump him in the hoop. They call that against the Eagles. That's Hernandez. That's his 3rd personal, 4th team foul against the Eagles. Chance for a 3-point play for Cheadle. 2 of 3 from the charity stripe is Cheadle. Free throws up, and it is off the rim, no good. Rebound for it for Clay at the free throw line. He'll bring it across for the Eagles. Clay with 5 boards already. Pass the left wing. David will take the 3 as he just checked back in and nails the tray. David with 6 points all coming in this second quarter. And the Eagles up 34-31, breaking the tie with the tray. Roswell gets it across. Hard dribble down the right side of the lane. Zambrano got caught in traffic. Got between 2 defenders that time, David and Soria. The referee gets the travel from behind. And that'll be the 5th turnover for the Coyotes. Coach rolling out a happy camper on that one as he inbound to the backcourt to Beatty as he tips it back to Soria. Clock down to 1:18 left in the half. Back to Beatty in the right wing to Proby. Returns to Beatty right side. Cross court left to Soria. Or correction, that was Clay. Down to David left corner. Another 3 attempt in and out. No good. Battle for the boards. The ball gets tipped out of the left baseline. Cheadle got a piece of it last. They're going to give it to the Eagles. Left to the rim with 1:09 left in the half. 3-point Eagle lead, 34-31. Inbounding to David in the left wing. Throws it back to Clay. Drives to the free throw line. Turns and fires at Jay out the left rim. Pulled down by Barola. His first rebound. Gets it ahead to his guard. Far right. Fuentes in the front court. To the right corner, Zambrano. Back to Fuentes right side. Over to left to Barola. He fires up a 3 out the back of the rim. Soria chases it down on the far left sideline. He'll take the dribble up court. His 3rd rebound. Quick pass down to the right base. Shot for Beatty for the right block and nails it, Jay. Beatty with 13 to lead the Eagles. 36-31. Hobbs with their biggest lead of 5 now. And now Cheeto in the front court. Bounce pass to the free throw line to Shung. Shung spins to the right block off the dribble. Good defense by Soria. Kick out right corner to Cheeto. Cheeto spins right baseline. Throws a shot double clutch between 2 defenders, David and Clay. And the official says the squeeze play will be a foul. So Roswell trying to whittle at the lead with some free throws here with 22 seconds left here in the second. And they'll call that one against Clay, his first, 15 fouls. So Roswell will be in the double bonus the rest of this first half as Cheeto will step up. Cheeto's got 12 points so far, including a couple of trays. Shots bouncing around and no good. He'll get 1 more. The Eagles stick with David, Clay, Soria, Proby, and Beatty, all starters for Hobbs, as we wait that second Cheeto free throw. Off the front of the rim, no good. Ball tipped, chased down for Roswell, and it'll go out of bounds off the hands of Ashung, who tried to chase it to the left corner. So missing both of them was Cheadle. Score remains at 36-31. Hobbs going to expand their lead from 5 here. Probably the final possession of the half. 20.2 seconds remaining, 36-31. Eagle basketball is coming across as Soria. Gives it off to Clay, near right. Back deep to Beatty at the time strike. Kick it left to Soria with 8 seconds. Soria's stop-and-go dribble. Comes to the left wing. Over to David in the left corner. Overthrows him and pulled away by a Shung for the Eagles turnover. Shung with the bad pass, and Beatty lays in off the right glass before the buzzer. Counted for Braddock Beatty, right in the right place at the right time as Roswell gets their 6th turnover. Another bucket for the Eagles to finish the first half, 38-31. We'll take a 3-minute break and come back with Hobbs Eagle stats along with the Coyotes next on the Hobbs Eagle Network.
Clear.
back at halftime here at Roswell High, Roswell, New Mexico, the land of the aliens. As your Hobbs Eagles lead 38-31. Hobbs is at the lead in the first quarter, 16-15. They were getting outscored pretty well in that second, but they ended up with 22 compared to 16 for Roswell. Good little run towards the end there in the second quarter for Hobbs to get the 7-point lead at the half. Look at the scoring in the first half. The leader for Roswell, Laz Cheadle, the big bruiser underneath the hoop. He's got 14 points, but the big kid can shoot from the outside. He's hit 3 trays so far, but he's having some issues with free throws. He is 1 of 5 from the charity stripe for 20%. He's the only guy that shot free throws for Roswell in the first half. Again, he leads with 14. Jeremy Sombrano, their streak shooter, has a couple of trays and 8 points total so far. He's got 3 rebounds. By the way, Cheadle with 2 boards. Tony Serrano hit a tray for 3. And it was Troy Barola, the coach's son, a couple of buckets for 4 points. Andrew Fuentes hit 1 shot for 2. They've had 5 scores in the first half. The only free throws, as I mentioned, was from Cheadle, 1 of 5 from the charity stripe for 20%. Both teams now with 6 turnovers. Roswell got theirs late in that second quarter. They have hit 6 3-pointers in the game so far. 3 of those for Cheadle, so he's got half. Also Serrano, Sombrano, both getting 2 for Sombrano, 1 for Serrano to wrap up the other 3. On the other side of the coin, your Hobbs Eagles got some big scoring from Braddock Beatty. 9 of his 15 points in the first quarter, including a tray, and 1 rebound for him as well. It was Lyric Soria getting all 3 buckets for trays for 9 points, 1 in the first quarter, 2 in the second quarter. Malachi David for 6 points, all coming in the second. He had a 3-point shot and was 1 for 1 from the charity stripe in an and 1 situation. Josiah Clay was 6 points, a couple of buckets coming in this second quarter. He also led the team with 5 rebounds in the first half. And one other score for the Eagles, Darius Proby with 2 points, but he's ripped down 4 boards for the Eagles. Hobbs had 5 scores in the first half. Free throws, very slim, 1 for 1. Malachi David, the only guy with that and 1 that got to the line in the first half. Leading rebounders, we mentioned Josiah Clay with 5, Proby with 4. And 16 total rebounds for the Eagles in the first half. 9, or make that 11 for Roswell. So Hobbs leading by a handful there through 2 quarters of action. Again, we mentioned both teams with 6 turnovers apiece. Hobbs hitting 5 trays in the first half. 60% of those coming from Lyric Soria. He had 3 of the 5. And, of course, the other ones coming from Beatty for 1 and David getting 1 as well for the Eagles' cause. So when you put all the numbers together, Hobbs up 38-31 over Roswell here at the half in Coyote Land. We'll be back in 2 minutes, or make that 1 minute here on the Hobbs Eagle Network. Getting ready for second half action here in Roswell. Ty Friend here with you. Tiffany Stuber back at the station. Next broadcast is Friday night. Eagles will be in Carlsbad. 2 road games this week. Because of that stupid winter storm we had last week, moved the Roswell game tonight from last Tuesday. So the Eagles had to put 2 road games under their belts as they'll take on the Cavemen, who beat this Roswell team by double digits just a few nights back. And that was Sombrano getting 19 in that game. Cheadle getting 14 in a losing cause. Those 2 combined for 36 for the Roswell Coyotes. We get ready for the third quarter here in Roswell. It's going to be Hobbs Eagle basketball. As it'll be put in the backcourt to Beatty. He'll bring it across for the Eagles offense. Have some issues with our tech here. Give me just a second to get back on track. A pass to the right wing gets knocked out. Coach Ross out on the court to try to get the call for his Eagles here. And they're going to call jump. They went out both players simultaneously. Hobbs got the original jump. That's going to go as a turnover, unfortunately, because it's going to go back to Roswell. Coach Ross thought it got knocked out by Roswell. Ross going to the bench saying, hey, it should be our ball on the jump, but Hobbs is the one that just brought it in here, so it's got to go to Roswell. So, unfortunately, a turnover, number 7 of the game for the Eagles. Roswell inbound deep to their backcourt to Sombrano. He'll break it up against Clay near the timeline. The big R logo in the middle of the court, those of you watching on the internet. Gets the screen up top from the big kid Cheadle. Stop and go. One-hand pass up to Cheadle, top of the circle. Drives the right lane. Head fake. Double clutch is rejected strong by David. Coach Ross wanted to have a travel. The official going to call the foul. So that's going to give David his second personal. Foul count was 6-2 in the first half. Eagles were 1 for 1 from the charity stripe. And Roswell 1 for 5. And Cheadle was the only guy that shot, but was 20%. So he's going to try to improve his numbers. It does lead with 14 points for Roswell at least. This one dribbles around the rim and good. He's just tied up the scoring of Beatty for the Eagles, who has 15 with that point there. 38-32. Again, the Eagles outscored Roswell 22-16 in the second quarter. Fade away on the second shot. Good for Cheadle. He's got 16. And now 38-33. Coming across the timeline is Soria. Gives it up top to David. David will hold it. Proby will come get it on the right wing. Lefty dribble now around the circle. Tips it out to Soria. Gets squeezed between two defenders. Drives the paint shot for the free throw line. Right through the hole. He's got 11 points. 40-33. Hobbs by 7. Inbound to the near sideline. Deep in the corner, Serrano. They're going to call the reach. Proby and Clay try to strip. And they're going to call that foul on Proby, and Coach Ross not liking that one. Proby's first personal. 2 team fouls now on the Eagles early here in this third quarter. In front of the Hobbs Eagle bench in the backcourt. Looking for some help is Fuentes. Has to cross-court it over to Cheadle, the big kid. He's all over the place, even though he's a big boy. He'll bring it across the timeline on the dribble. On the left wing, gets a screen, and then pivoting is Barola. Cheadle throw it down hard to the left baseline to Fuentes. Kicks it to the left elbow to Sombrano. Pivots, and they're going to say he shuffled that foot and slid. They call the travel. Roswell's 7th turnover to match the Eagles now. 14 total in the ball game. Hobbs holding the 7-point lead, though. 40-33. 6:48 left, third quarter. Here comes Soria now across the time stripe. Gets a screen on the left side from Proby. Continues to the left wing. Hand off to Clay. Crossover move in front of the Hobbs Eagle bench. Stop and go dribble. Double team on the left block. Kick to Proby coming in the lane. Hippity hop. Gives it back to Clay. Leads to the hoop. Throws up a shot. Is fouled. Clinks off the side of the iron. But he's going to get some free throws out of this one. Nice little activity there between those two players. Proby and Clay knew where each other was in the area. I believe they just called that one against Serrano. That'll be his first personal. First team foul against Roswell. Clay will step up. Second free throw of the game for the Eagle attempts. That's good for him, for Josiah Clay. He's got 7. Clay came into the contest shooting 71%. The Eagles were 67% as a team heading into tonight's game. 40-33 as Clay will get one more. Second shot good. So Clay gets them both. 8 points for him. And we got a whistle before the ball gets inbound. It looks like it might have got swatted by Clay at the last second. It gets knocked out. So they'll just reset on this one. Inbound to the near right side of the paint to Fuentes. Fires it across the timeline to Sombrano. Goes back door to the right block to Ashung. To Cheadle on the left wing. Drives the lane. The hook shot in the paint. Puts it through the hole. He's got 18 points. 41-35. Hobbs by 6. Quickly the Eagles in the front court. Clay on the left wing, dribbling behind his back, weaves through traffic, spins, double clutch at the left glass, count it, and the foul. Cheadle bodying into him that time, and Cheadle will get his first personal. Boy, Clay started to get some good moves to the hoop, quickness, and nice dribbling skill as well. He's got 10 points now for the Eagles, and a chance for another free throw. He's 2 for 2. 44-35. Hobbs by 9. Got to make it double digits for the first time tonight if he can put this one through, and he does with a swish. 45-35. Eagles by 10. 6:05 remaining here in the third. Across the timeline is Zambrano. Bounce pass gives it to Fuentes. Down to the lane to the right block to Ashung. He tries to wrap around to Cheeto in the middle of the paint. Ball gets booted out of bounds. Wait to see who that came off of there. Got to give it to Roswell on the left baseline. Andrew Fuentes to inbound. Hobbs up by 10. They throw it back deep to the left wing to Cheeto. NBA three on the way and good. You can't leave him alone. That's going to be the 7th tray of the game for Roswell. And Cheeto continues to light him up. He's got 21. 45-38 your scores. Eagles bring it across the timeline. Soria's going to be patient and holds up the play call at the time stripe in the front court. Comes right, gets a screen from Clay. Pivots. Clay comes back to get at the top of the circle. Takes a dribble around the left circle. Crossover move, backs it out. Back to Soria at the time stripe. Through his legs. Again to Clay on the left side. Clay in front of the Hobbs Eagle bench. Want to see some rotation from David. David will stay in the corner, though. Spins. 4 men on D. Goes up strong. Double clutch again, and it's fouled on the drive. Don't think they're going to give him a shooting foul on this one, but they're letting Clay back into him, and Roswell not learning the lesson. They call that against Ashtung. That's his first. Second team foul, and back to the line goes Clay. Clay really starting to dump in the points now. He's got 5 here in this third quarter, 11 overall in double digits. Shot up and good. He is 4 for 4 here in the third quarter and makes it an 8-point lead, 46-38. David's going to take a breather, and Javen Hernandez returns for the Eagles. One more free throw coming for Clay. Little fadeaway, rolls off the front of the rim, no good. Cheeto pulls it down for his third rebound and throws it across the timeline. Gets it back top of the circle from Zambrano. Back to Zambrano on the right wing on the yo-yo pass. Dumps it right corner to Barolo, fakes it 3, goes against Proby, tries to thread the needle in the lane, and it's taken away by Soria for the Eagles. Got right in the spot he wanted to. That's the 8th turnover for Roswell. Into the front court, shake and bake, coming down the middle of the paint. Dumps it to Beatty, wide open right corner for a tray shot off the front rim, but it's tipped up over the top of Hernandez by Roswell Zambrano. And that's going to be, should be Hobbs' basket. Ooh, they're giving it back to Roswell. Here in the third quarter, in Roswell. Thank you, Tiffany, to get that quarters checked up here. Roswell basketball coming across the timeline. Pass to the left wing. Ashtung, dump it into the left corner to Barola. Puts his head down, kick out left to the big kid, Cheadle. Turns it up top to Fuentes. Fuentes will spin, give it up top again with this reset to Zambrano. He'll back it out to the timeline against Beatty. Pivots, gives to Cheeto, and before the ball got stolen in the air by Clay, a timeout for Coach Barola as his team getting sucked back to the time stripe on the offense and definitely wants to see some more penetration. Thus the timeout. 4:18 remaining here in the third. Hobbs up by 8, 46-38 over Roswell. Back in 30 seconds on the Hobbs Eagle Network. Your Hobbs Eagles lead 46-38 here in the third quarter, trying to run their district record at 2-0 in the Max Preps poll this week. Eagles still hovering in that number 1 through 10 spot right now. The Eagles sitting at number 7 behind Sandia, a team that they beat earlier this season. The Roswell Coyotes sit at number 18. Roswell basketball after the timeout. In the front court, pass down to the right corner. Fadeaway 3 by Zambrano, bouncing a couple times on the rim. Pulled down underneath by Ashtung. Kicks it out left corner. Fuentes with the dribble. A fade and a hook shot from the left block. He gets crashed on by a couple of guys. Clay and Sanders, not sure which one's going to get the foul, but they both converged on him. They're going to call that against Sanders, his first. Third team foul against the Eagles. And on the line will be Fuentes. Get only one free throw shooter in this game. That has been Cheeto the whole time. Makes the first one, does Fuentes. He's got 3 points. Cheeto 3 for 7 so far. Misses the second one. Ball loose at the free throw line. Soria goes to the floor for it. Before he can get it controlled, though, they get a jump ball. And an arrow going to go to Hobbs. Coach Ross going to go to his bench and bring in Malachi David, who comes in with 6 points. Beatty with 15, the leader so far. 12 for Clay, 11 for Soria, 6 for David. And for Roswell, 21 for Laz Cheadle. He's the leading scorer. 8 for Sombrano. Ball thrown across the timeline for the Eagles to David, top of the circle. Sends it over to Sanders, right wing. Touch pass to Clay in the right corner. Tries to spin against Ashtung and lost it off his knee. Ashtung kind of reached in there and got him trying to change his hands on the dribble, and it gets knocked out by Clay. The Eagles just picked up their 8th turnover. More subs coming in. Clay will take a break. And on the court for him now for the Eagles is Beatty. Roswell basketball coming across the timeline as Fuentes unloads to the right wing to Ashtung. Underhand to Barola in the right corner, guarded closely by Hernandez. Dumps it right block. Pivoting right, left is Cordero. Kicks it right wing to Fuentes. Down right corner to Barola's 3 off the side of the iron. Chased down the left wing by Sombrano, his 4th board. Dumps it to the left block to Barola. Turns and fires point blank off the back of the iron. And the Eagles crashing board. Sanders got a piece of it, but last touch by Ashtung for Roswell. Eagle basketball. Good effort there to try to get themselves a defensive board, but it'll be knocked out anyway. 46-39 here in the third quarter. Eagles bring it across the timeline with Soria at the helm. He's guarded by Sombrano. 2 number 3s going at it. Unloads to the left wing to Sanders. Trying to get down low to David, but throws it high in the air. Of course, David's 6'8". He'd have to be about 7'8" to pull that one down, another foot higher. So Hobbs now with their 9th turnover. Unforced errors, definitely what you don't want to have. It's still just a 7-point game here in Roswell. Hobbs up 46-39 with 3:06 remaining in the third. Taking his time in the backcourt, Sombrano, as he hands it off to Fuentes. Fuentes taking on Clay into the time stripe. Gives it to Ashtung, free throw line, backdoor. A little shot put action by Sombrano. Somehow gets it to drop over the right rim. He's got 10 points. 46-41. Eagles still by 5. Into the front court comes Clay with a jump stop. Up top to Beatty. Beatty swings it left to Soria. To the left corner to Malachi. He tucks. Tries to look for a shot, but then dumps out instead to Beatty right wing, down to Hernandez right block, back door to Clay, reverse layup right side, and scores off the glass. Nice ball work for the Eagles. 14 points for Clay, and Hobbs up by 7, 48-41. Here come the Coyotes into the front court. The spin on the right wing is Fuentes. Gives it Ashtung up top, hands behind to Sombrano. Gets a screen, dribbles to the right elbow, pivoting, flicks it up top to Ashtung. 2 steps and a dribble and stops. Gives it handoff to Sombrano, comes down the lane with the righty layup and scores. Sombrano with 12. So he's in double digits for Roswell. Score now 48-43. Eagles coming to the front court. Pass to Malachi David left wing. Up top to Beatty. It's deflected. Taken away by Fuentes. He'll send it ahead, and a lean shot from the right block as Sombrano scores. He's got 14 and back-to-back. It's 48-45. And after the 10th turnover, Coach Ross calls a timeout. We got ourselves a barn burner here in Roswell. 48-45. Eagles holding on to a 3-point lead. Time out on the court for the Eagles. 1:45 remaining in the third. We're back in 30 seconds on the Hobbs Eagle Network. Here in Roswell, your Hobbs Eagles lead 48-45 with 1:45 left third quarter. Eagles leading the rebounding battle 17-14 here in the third. So far in the scoring for Hobbs, 15 for Braddock Beatty, yet to score here in the third. 15 for Josiah Clay. He's got 9 of his points in the third. Also 6 for Malachi David, yet to score in the third. 11 for Lyric Soria with 1 bucket in the third, and Proby has a bucket for 2. The leader so far for Roswell with 21 points is Luz Cheadle. Jeremy Sombrano with 14. He's got 3 buckets here in this third quarter. 48-45, Hobbs basketball. Pass to Beatty on the near left sideline. Up top to David, kind of a short one. He's able to pull it down. Kick out right wing to Soria, fakes a three. He'll dribble back to the far right sideline, give up top to David. David, kick off left to Beatty. Beatty up top to Soria. Running some clock with 1:20 left in the third. Hobbs by 3. Coming out to play some D is foot test. Soria will back it out. Waits for a screen from David, top of the circle. Fights Beatty in the right wing. Down to Clay in the right corner. Thought about a three. Back to Beatty. Double team at the top of the arc. Over to Soria left wing. He wants a tray off the left rim, though. Rebound by Hernandez underneath. His second. Gives out to David on the right wing. Back deep to Soria. Cross court left to Beatty. Beatty gets 2 defenders that come out on him. One hands it back to Soria. Cross court right wing. Fadeaway three. NBA distance. It gets it. 14 points for Soria. 51-45. The Coyotes aren't going to take any time to get up the court. Hobbs by 6. Slowing it down now, Sombrano as he takes on Beatty. Gets a screen up top from Cheeto. Gives the ball to Cheeto on the right wing. Eagles to the matchup zone. Cheeto will make that. Sombrano with the pass back to him at the timeline. Ashton tries to give him a screen, doesn't use it. Weaves through traffic to the right baseline. Underneath the hoop, reverse layup, and scores underneath from right to left. Sombrano with 4 buckets here in the third quarter. He's got 16. 51-47. 4-point lead for the Eagles. Hobbs ball in the front court. Pass to the right wing to David. His 3 shot at the front of the iron. Chased down top of the arc by Barola. That's his second rebound. Outlet to Sombrano now in the front court. He'll slow it down with a stop and go. 51-47. Dump it to the right corner. Right open is Barola at the buzzer and hits it. Very important shot for Roswell. Barola with 7 points. And makes it 51-50. He was wide open in the deep right corner. Hobbs still holding on to a 1-point lead at the end of 3. We'll take a 60-second break and come back live on HobbsAmerica.com, YouTube, the Cool 95.7 Facebook page on the internet, and on the radio at Cool 95.7.
Go.
We got a close one here in Roswell. It'll be Roswell basketball to start the fourth quarter. They trail the Eagles 51-50. Barola, the coach's son, just hit a tray at the end of the third. 21 points for Luz Cheadle for Roswell, 16 for Sombrano. Fadeaway jumper in the left corner for Fuentes. He's got 6 points now. His first tray of the game. That's 9 3-pointers for Roswell. Quickly at the other end, going up high as Proby gets jumped into as he tries to put a shot over the front of the iron. Little shot put action. He is fouled. Coach Barola not liking that call. 53-51 Roswell. Proby will get 2 shots. First foul on the Coyotes. Double check to see who that one was against. That was Lopez, first personal. Shots up and good for Proby. That's his first free throw attempt of the night. Proby came into the game shooting at 63%, 52-53. Down by 1 now, could tie it up here. Proby with 3 points. Second shot is up and good. Swish, 4 points for Proby, and we are tied once again. 53 all. Inbound to Cheadle. Here in the fourth quarter. Across the timeline off the dribble, the big kid on the left wing. Gets a screen from Eshtung. Up top to Sombrano. Backs out against Clay on the left wing. Back deep to Cheadle at the timeline. Right side. Strong dribble. Goes down to the hoop with it. Leads and shoots off the glass and scores. He just put his left shoulder down towards the hoop and went in like a battering ram. They're going to count the basket. Cheadle now with 23. Foul on Beatty, his second. That will be the first team foul on the Eagles here in the fourth. And now 55-53, Roswell by 2. Again, 23 for Cheadle. Misses off the back of the rim. Pulled down by David for the Eagles. That's his 4th rebound. Big pass down court to Beatty. Reverse slamp on the right side and scores. Quick one for the Eagles. He's got 17. Roswell get across the timeline with Cheadle. We're tied at 55. Cross court left to Sombrano. No look pass to Barola, left corner. 3 is in and out. Ribbed out. Rebound by Ashtung on the right block. He goes up strong and just puts it over the right rim and scores. 2 rebounds and 2 points for Ashtung. Eagles not going to waste time now. They're down by 2. Into the front court, pass to Beatty. Back deep to Soria, left wing. Back to the right side now to Clay. Returns to Soria, left side of the arc, to Beatty in the left corner. Yo-yo passed back to Soria. To Beatty in the left corner again. Jab step against Cheadle. Posted up David. Triple team, leads back and shoots. The ball comes out of his hands. Might have been tipped and taken away for the Roswell Coyotes by Sombrano. Turnover number 11 for the Eagles. Sombrano will slow it down on the right wing as Clay steps out on D. Dish off to the right corner to Cheadle. Cheadle tied up by Soria. They're going to call the foul. Looked like he had a hand on the ball, but they called a foul on the wrist. They'll charge that to Soria, his first. 2nd team foul against the Eagles. 57-55, Roswell by 2. Eagles at the half were up 38-31. Hobbs has scored 17 in this second half and 14 for Roswell. Dish down left corner to Sombrano. Kick out left wing to Barola. Drives the lane, puts his head down against 2 defenders, leads and shoots off the glass and puts it through. Barola with 9 points. Back to a 4-point lead for Roswell, 59-55. Into the front court, Clay on the right wing. Back deep to Soria, swing it left to Beatty. Beatty waits for the D to come out on him. Fuentes, dump it to Clay on the left elbow. Over to Soria right wing, down to David right corner. Fakes a 3, returns up top to Beatty. Beatty very patient on the offense. A 1-2-2 zone for Roswell on the D side. To Clay in the left corner. Bounce passes to David in the front of the free throw line. Does have a hook, gets his own rebound off the rim. His 4th, goes back up again and scores. 5 rebounds and 8 points now for Malachi David. Starting to use his size in the paint. Eagles down by 2, 59-57. Cheadle gets the ball, goes to the hoop hard with a double clutch. They're going to call David coming over the top for the foul. Coach Ross not liking that one. Thought he had clear ball on that. They call that on David, his 3rd personal, 3rd team foul against the Eagles. And Cheadle goes to the charity stripe. He is just 3 of 8 from the charity stripe so far. Not the best free throw shooting numbers. His teammate Fuentes 1 for 1. He's the only other guy that has shot free throws for Roswell. First shot bouncing around the rim and good. 24 points now for Cheadle. Scoring so far for the Eagles, Beatty 17. Soria and Clay both have 14 apiece. Soria with 3 or make it 4 trays in the game. As they wait for that second free throw, 60-57 Roswell. Shots up and good. He got them both, did Cheadle. 25 now for him to lead both teams in scoring, and a 61-57 ball game. Roswell by 4 with 5:27 remaining. Coach Ross going to go to his bench and bring in Javen Hernandez as Proby will take a seat. Beatty will remain on the court along with David, Soria, and Clay. Soria will get the inbound. He'll bring it up across the timeline against Castro, who just checked in. To Clay on the near side. Cross court right to Soria, down to David in the right corner. Returns to Soria back deep on the far right sideline. Again to David on the yo-yo pass in the corner. Cross court left to Clay. He had to jump for it on 2 defenders. Trying to thread the needle down low. It's stolen by Fuentes for the Eagles, turnover number 12. Going the other way, the Coyotes driving the lane with a pass down to Castro. He put his head down. And we got some officials pointing different directions here. They're calling a hold. That'll be against Hobbs. They'll call that on Clay, his 2nd. It's a 4-1 foul count so far in favor of Roswell. Not quite the double bonus, but getting one more close to it. Inbounding from the left baseline is Serrano. Having some trouble getting it in, and a 5-second count. Good job for Clay to mirror the inbound and causing the inbounder, Serrano, to hold it too long. That's a Roswell turnover number 9. And a timeout as Coach Barola wants to kind of calm his troops. They have a 4-point lead over your Eagles, 61-57 in favor of Roswell. Come back with us in 30 seconds as your Hobbs Eagles will get the basketball after the break. Hobbs Eagles working on their second win in district, but they're trailing by 4 here to Roswell, 61-57. As Roswell called a timeout. Again, point production 17 for Beatty, 14 for Soria, 14 for Clay. And for Roswell, it's 25 for Cheadle, 16 for Sombrano, but he has yet to score in this fourth quarter. Hobbs basketball in their backcourt. Clay will get it into Beatty. Referees are kind of rushing things just a bit to get the teams back out here. Throws it across the timeline to Soria, asking for Clay to come back and get it. Dribbles the left wing, hands off to Beatty, slings it back deep to Soria, almost had to chase it in the backcourt. Dribbles to the right wing, one hands it to Hernandez in the right corner, returns to Soria, far right sideline. Again to Hernandez, again to Soria. Top of the circle as he dribbles right to left, unloads to Clay on the left wing. Clay gets it down to Hernandez in the left corner, saving it to himself. Pivoting, come back to get it as Clay left wing. Crossing through traffic, hippity hop, shot from the left block and scores off the glass. Clay was 16, looked like the rabbit on that one. Eagles down by 1, 61-60. Clock down to 4:21 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Shot from the left wing for Cheadle on the fadeaway. Don't know if you want that one. Rebound by Soria right behind him. His fourth board. Soria will send it ahead to the right corner to Hernandez. Back up top to Malachi David. He pivots, gives it right to Soria. Down Hernandez in the right corner. 61-59 your score. Up top to David against a 2-2-1 zone. Hand off to Clay on the left wing. Back deep to Soria at the time stripe. Returns it back to Clay. Trying to move those top two defenders up around the arc. To Soria at the timeline. One hands it to Beatty on the right wing. Patient offense for the Eagles. Cross court left to Clay. Weaves through traffic. A cradle. A hook shot on the middle of the paint. Misses it. Gets his own rebound. His sixth board of the game. As he tries to go back up, there's a foul. Don't know if he got the shooting motion he wanted. We're waiting to see if they're going to count this as a shot or not. They're going to count the basket. Foul against Fuentes, his first. That will be the first team foul. So they'll count the basket for Clay. That's 18 for him, and we are tied at 61. Clay going to try to break the tie. He's perfect from the charity stripe, 4 for 4, all coming in the third quarter. So a big stroke here for Clay. And he breaks the tie with a swish. 19 for Clay. Eagles by 1, 62-61. Coyotes in the front court. Fuentes with the dribble. Unloads the left wing to Serrano. Serrano back up top to Fuentes. To the Serrano in the yo-yo game left wing. Down to the left corner. Driving baseline. Castro underneath the hoop. Dumps it to the left wing to Serrano. To the free throw line. To the right wing to Cheadle. Cheadle drives on 3 defenders. Hippity hop. Leads and shoots. David gets a swat on it. Rebound by Clay. Clay into the front court after his 7th rebound. They're going to call out of bounds. Clay fell to the floor. The ball sailed out of his hands. He was flat on his stomach that time. That'll be the 13th turnover for the Eagles. Just lost his footing, kind of got flopped to the floor. Defenders right on top of him. Eagles with 13 turnovers, 9 for Roswell. And Coach Barola going to bring in his son now, Trey Barola, who's got 9 points for the Coyotes. 3:08 remaining. Your Eagles by 1 here in the fourth quarter. Coming across the timeline. Fuentes gives it to Cheadle in the paint, drives and gets stripped by Malachi David twice in a row. That'll be the 10th turnover for Roswell. Eagles send it ahead to Clay in the right wing. He'll cradle it. 3 defenders, weaves through all of them. Jump stop, shot from the right block, pulls the J and puts it through the hole, and the foul. Boy, Clay definitely showing he's got some momentum going here. 21 points for Clay. As the foul comes against Roswell, they're second as a team. And Clay on the free throw strike. 21 for Clay, and a chance for the three-point play. Shot is off the side of the rim, rebound by Serrano, no good. And it's a 3-point lead for the Eagles, 1 possession ball game. Pass across the time strike to Sombrano and from the Roswell bench near side. Uses up his dribble, good D by Beatty. Holds the ball for a second, gives it back to the timeline. Dangerous pass to Fuentes. Kicks it left wing to Serrano. Drives the left elbow, the pivot. Finds Sombrano, top of the circle. He'll back out with the dribble. Near the timeline now as Clay comes out on him. Extended 2-3 zone for the Eagles. Crossover move. Sombrano dumps it left wing to Fuentes. Fires an NBA 3 fadeaway out the back of the rim. Pulled down by Barolo. The third rebound for him on the right block. He's held. And I'm not sure if he's getting the shot up or not. But they call a foul on the Eagles. Pulling down on him. Looked like Soria was in there at the time. They're going to give him the foul, his second. 15th foul. That means Roswell in the double bonus the rest of the ball game, regardless of a shooting foul or not. That'll put Barola on the line, yet to shoot a free throw. He's only the third guy to get an opportunity for Roswell in this game. It's up and good on a swish. He's got 10. So now they've got 3 players in double figures. 25 for Cheadle, 10 for Barola, and 16 for Sombrano. Second shot for Barola is good as well. He's got 11, 64-63. Eagles get the ball and come in quickly as across the timeline is Clay. He'll wait, give the handoff to Soria near the R in the middle of the court. 2 minutes remaining in the game. Hobbs by 1. Over to Beatty, far right. Cross court left to Soria. 2-1-2 zone for Roswell. Stop and go dribble. Gets by 1 to Soria. Returns back deep to Beatty. Outside the left circle. Drives through 3 defenders. No look pass to David, right corner. Rainbow 3 off the side of the rim. Gets his own rebound, his 6th. Cradles it, but gets stripped by Barola for the turnover. That is 14 turnovers. Barola fell to the floor, and his dad calls the timeout. He did not want to travel out of that one to give it back to the Eagles. Smart call for the Coyotes. So Hobbs holds on to a 1-point lead, but it'll be Coyote basketball with 1:42 remaining here in the fourth in Roswell. We will take a 60-second timeout and come back live with more Hobbs Eagle Hoops.
Go.
Your Hobbs Eagles hold on to a 1-point lead, 64-63 here in the fourth, with 1:42 remaining. Hobbs owning the board so far, 22-18, with 21 points for Josiah Clay, 17 for Beatty, 14 for Soria. But it's Roswell basketball. Coming across the timeline is Fuentes, down by 1. Bounce pass left wing to Serrano. Drives the paint, kicks it left wing to Barola. Over to left corner to Sombrano. Gets double team from David and Soria. Returns up top to Fuentes. Over to right side to Cheadle in front of the Roswell bench. Guarded by Beatty. Back deep to the timeline to Fuentes. Bounce pass left wing to Barola. Barola with a fake 3. Drives the lane. Gets tripped from behind. Falls to the floor. Late whistle. Coach Ross calling for a travel. They're going to call the foul instead. Looked like he had got past Clay, and maybe his foot came back and clipped on Clay's foot as he was running forward. They called the foul. Kind of a tight one there. That'll be his 3rd personal, 16th foul already in the double bonus, and Barola right back to the line. He was 2 for 2 just seconds ago. Can break the tie with 2 free throws. And misses off the first one, off the back of the rim. First miss of the night for him. He's 2 for 3 from the charity stripe. Still a 1-point Eagle lead, but pending this second free throw. Shots up and good. He ties it up at 64. 1:18 remaining. Eagle basketball. Soria with it as he comes across the timeline on the dribble. And Coach Ross wants a strategy timeout here for the offense. Now I have 64 on. The scoreboard jumped to 65 as he missed that second free throw. Now a coaching staff is looking up at the scoreboard here in the timeout. Boy, what the heck's going on there? It should be a tie ball game. Referees coming over to talk about that. That is not looking good at this point. That should not be a lead for Roswell. Coaching staff all over there right now and trying to get that squared away. We will take a break, though. We should have a 64-all ball game. We'll wait and see if that holds up here in 30 seconds. The scoreboard has been corrected. It does line up with what I have in the books here, 64 all. He missed one of 2 free throws, did Barola. Coaching staff for Roswell still questioning the officials, wondering why the score went up to 65 and then dropped back during the timeout, but it definitely had to be corrected. Going to be Hobbs basketball, still a tie ball game, and they've got 114 to deal with it right now. Hobbs looking at 2-0 if they can win this one. Roswell trying to get their first win after losing to Carlsbad a few nights ago. Inbound to Soria in the backcourt. Brings it across. Screen from Beatty, right wing. Up top now. Handoff behind to Clay. Clay gets a double team as well. Passes Soria on the left wing in front of the Hobbs bench. Swings it back. Oh, he carried the basketball. He's getting ready to pass, and he flipped it over like a flapjack on the near sideline and picks up the travel. 15 turnovers for the Eagles, 10 for Roswell. That's definitely a hard one to swallow. Now Roswell get the ball with 59.8 seconds remaining. Returning for Roswell in the sub is DeBryce Eshung. Hobbs sticks with Clay, Beatty, Soria, David, and Hernandez. In the backcourt is Fuentes, brings it across the timeline. Double team, 2-2-1 zone, gives it off to Ashtung left wing, drives the lane, reverse left to the right side, misses off the rim. David gets his 7th rebound, gives it to Hernandez, and over to Soria on the far right sideline. Throws it across the time stripe to Hernandez. Back to Soria to reset. And again to Beatty on the near left in front of the Hobbs bench. Clock down to 33 seconds. Tied up at 64. Beatty at the time stripe gets stripped with the timeout right before the steal by Ashtung in front of the scorer's table on the near sideline. We will keep it right here. We are tied at 64 with 30 seconds remaining here in Roswell. And a look at the current Max Preps poll. In terms of the top of the field right now for the 5A squads throughout New Mexico, it's Cleveland at number 1, 17-3. Rio Rancho's 2, and they are 18-2. Volcano Vista comes in at number 3. Las Cruces number 4. La Cueva 5. Sandia 6, a team the Eagles beat earlier this season. And Hobbs sitting at number 7. Hobbs has one of the better strength of schedules in the state at 14.1. The reason they are in the top 10. Coming in at number 8, Albuquerque High, a team the Eagles beat this season. They're 13-8. Centennial, number 9, Hobbs beat them as well. They've got a 14-6 record. And another district foe, Carlsbad, comes in at number 10, currently at 14-6, playing Clovis. And they are going to be the team the Eagles face on Friday. Now we'll have that game live for you at 6:45 Friday night, pregame show, tip-off at 7. Roswell sits in at number 18 on the Max Preps poll at 11-10. And Clovis at number 19 at 10-9. Those teams both have an 8+ strength of schedule. Roswell 8.5 and Clovis 8.7. Again, compared to the Eagles, 14.1. APS Metro tournament definitely helps out on that strength of schedule. Back to live action here in Roswell. Your Hobbs Eagles tied up with the Coyotes, 64 all. Hobbs basketball in front of the Hobbs Eagle bench in the front court. Beatty finally gets into Soria. Takes a pivot and the dribble now. Clock to 25. Hand off to Clay at the timeline. Dribbles right around the circle. Hand off to Soria. Gives it back to Beatty at the timeline. Dumps it to Clay on the right block. Double team. Fadeaway jumper. Rolls off the rim. No good. Loose ball picked up by Malachi. David left block. Hook shot in the paint and count it. Was knocked to the floor. No call. He's got 10 points. Eagles up by 2. 66-64. Roswell throws it ahead to Cheadle. He tries to come down the lane to call the foul. Not sure if he was passing or shooting, but it's double bonus anyway. Hobbs Eagles lead by 2, 66-64. That'll be the 17th foul, already double bonus as we mentioned. And that'll put Cheadle on the line. He could tie it with 2 free throws. Not the best free throw shooter, though, we've seen tonight. He is just 4 of 10 from the line, 40%, but he makes that one. Still one shy of the Eagles at 65-66. Cheadle has gone 3 for 4 here in the fourth quarter and has 26 points to lead both teams. Top scorer for the Eagles, Clay with 21, 17 for Beatty. This could tie it up with a second free throw for Cheadle. 4.2 seconds remaining in the game. Its shot is up and good. He got them both, and we are tied. Hobbs will have 4.2 seconds remaining here in the fourth. We'll have the last possession, it appears, to get a shot. Malachi David made his shot. The paint got knocked on his butt. No call on the foul, but he got the bucket to get the 2-point lead. But Roswell with the 2 free throws is back in business. We'll take a 30-second break, come back with more Hobbs Eagle Hoops on the Hobbs Eagle Network. Last chance for the Eagles to get the victory here before the buzzer. 4.2 seconds remaining. Need to go the distance or have it from their baseline. Roswell going to back up towards half court. 3 on the half court line, 2 back deep. Clay will inbound from the baseline of the backcourt. He'll toss it into Surya, give it back to Clay. Clay dribbles up across the timeline and a foul before he gets there. A reach from behind by Sombrano. They had some to give. That's only his first foul. 13th foul against Roswell. That knocks off half the time now to 2.1. So Hobbs will have it in the backcourt still because the foul happened behind there at the 28-foot line. They still get a one-shot opportunity with 2.1 remaining. Inbounding will be Clay in front of the scorer's table on the left wing. He'll throw it deep into the lane. Down to David, tipped out to Hernandez to shoot the buzzer and scores! David Hernandez! Don't hurt his knee! Don't hurt his knee, please, team! Don't dump him to the floor! David Hernandez outside the right of the paint and scores! His mom Maria's gonna be happy if she's not here tonight. Big bucket for David Hernandez and the win. 68-66, your Hobbs Eagles victorious. Last second shot for Hernandez. David got a piece of it. I think he tried to extend his arm out there to push it to Javen, and Javen nails it right outside the right of the paint for the victory. Your Hobbs Eagles 68. Javen Hernandez first bucket as he gets a 2-point win over Roswell 66. We'll take a 3-minute break, and you are live with Hobbs Eagle Hoops in Roswell. We're back live here in Roswell. Exciting finish for your Hobbs Eagles. A 2-point thriller, 68-66 over Roswell. Big shot for Javen Hernandez outside the paint. Little tip action from Malachi David. He got kind of squeezed in between a few players. Never did come down with it. I think he got a tip out there to Javen. Javen threw up about a 10-footer and put it through the hole to finish up the ball game. No time for Roswell for the inbound to get down the court. And so exciting win for the Hobbs Eagles. They go to 2-0 in district, improved to 14-8. Roswell drops to 500, 11-11, and now 0-2 in district. I also want to mention, too, Carlsbad defeating Clovis tonight, 64-59. They won by just 5 in that game. Carlsbad's now 2-0. Clovis drops to 0-2. So give you kind of flavor what we're going to expect Friday night as the Eagles travel to Carlsbad. Let's look back through the numbers of what happened in this game tonight. First for Roswell, Laz Cheadle, 27 points in the ball game. He was 7 of 12 from the charity stripe, and the big kid also managed to knock down a total of 3 3-pointers in the ball game. So actually 4, he had 4 trays in the game. Also finished up with 3 rebounds to his name. So he's definitely a power horse there for Roswell. He was the top again with 27. Jeremy Sombrano, he did get 4 baskets in the third quarter, and that was 8 of his 16 points, so half of his scoring in the third. He had earlier a couple of trays in the first half and finished up with 16, 2 3-pointers, and 4 rebounds. Did not go to the free throw line tonight. Those are the only 2 guys in double digits. Actually, one more, Trey Barola, coach's son, he finished with 12 points. He had a tray and was also 3 for 4 for the charity stripe and had 3 of those 4 free throws all in the fourth quarter. So that definitely helped Roswell to pull back into the contest. It was Andrew Fuentes with 6 points. He had a tray, was 1 for 1 on the line, and 3 rebounds. Tony Serrano hit a tray for 3 points and 3 boards. DeBryce Ashung had a bucket for 2 points. And that's it for the scoring for Roswell. They had 6 guys in the books tonight. They went 11 of 17 from the charity stripe for 64%. And they had 9 3-pointers, which was 3 more than the Hobbs Eagles, and still losing by 2. So definitely could shoot the ball from the outside, could Roswell. They also finished up in terms of turnovers with 10 in this ball game, which was 5 less than the Eagles. But the Eagles out-rebounded Roswell 25-18. Top rebounder for Roswell was Jeremy Sombrano. He had 5 total, and it was 3 apiece for Fuentes and Cheadle. For your Hobbs Eagles, a whole slew of guys in double figures, led by Josiah Clays, 21 in the ball game, and he got all that from regular buckets and free throws. No trays for Clay. He was perfect from the line, 4 for 4, make that 5 for 5 from the line, and had 7 rebounds. So Clay, great first step, going to the hoop hard, weaving through traffic in the paint, going off the glass several times in this game against 2 or 3 defenders. He was all over the place. Great body control as well. Again, 21 points for Clay in the ball game. Lyric Soria drilled 4 3-pointers in the contest. He had 3 of those by the halftime and had 14. Third leading scorer with the 4 rebounds. Second leading scorer was Braddock Beatty. He had 17 points, 9 of those coming in the first quarter. He finished with 1 tray in the contest and 1 rebound. Again, another guy that did not get to shoot free throws in this game. Malachi David with 10 points. He had 1 for 1 on the line, a tray, that was in the second quarter, and finished with 7 rebounds. So you got 4 guys in double digits. Clay with 21, Beatty with 17, Soria with 14, and Malachi David with 10. Other scores for the Eagles, let's not forget about Adarius Proby. He had 4 points, a bucket, and 2 for 2 free throw shooting. Also ripped down 4 rebounds for the Eagles. And last but not least, he got in the books with his last shot to win the ball game. Less than a second remaining. Javen Hernandez with 2 points in the game on that shot only. Big time hit for Javen Hernandez. So Hobbs finishes up with 6 scores in the game. And get this, perfect from the line. 8 of 8, 100% from the charity stripe. Finish up with those 6 trays, 4 of those from Soria, and 1 apiece for Beatty and David from the outside. Eagles with 15 turnovers, just 5 more than Roswell. We mentioned they also out-rebounded Roswell 25-18. And a bunch of guys getting involved with the glass tonight. David was 7, Josiah Clay was 7, 4 for Proby and 4 for Soria with the rebounding numbers for the Hobbs Eagles. And boy, this is a great finish for the Eagles with that shot from Mr. Javen Hernandez to get the win. Hobbs again 14-8 on the season, and they go to 2-0 in district. We mentioned the score earlier. Carlsbad defeated Clovis tonight 64-59. Carlsbad is now 15-6. Clovis dropped to 500 at 10-10. Carlsbad 2-0 in district, and now Clovis at 0-2. So Clovis and Roswell will play next. They are both 0-2. Your Hobbs Eagles and the Carlsbad Cavemen on Friday, both at 2-0. So that'll be a very interesting matchup for both teams. And, of course, you always love to get away from home to get a victory. Hard trip always to Roswell. They won one game against the Eagles out of 4 opportunities last year, and the game was won on their home court, the second game of the 4 that they played here in Roswell. So Hobbs got the 3-1 record, but tonight they got the 1-0 record with the big final score of 68-66. Quickly looking at some other scores around the Lee County teams that we've seen tonight. We haven't had a lot of time to talk about these, and thanks to Evie Stuber for getting us caught up. The Hobbs girls trouncing Roswell tonight at Tasker Arena, 53-18, 53-16. Great job for Coach Carpenter and his crew as they win by a total of 37 in that one. A Mercy Roll victory for the Lady Eagles, who are now 2-0 in district. The Texaco boys knocking off the Jowl Panthers 57-9. And also it was Texaco beating the Jowl girls 54-31. The Lovington boys lost a 20-point battle to Goddard 67-47. And the Lovington girls all over Goddard. Final score there 61-46. Other scores too. Tatum girls big time win over Loving 65-19. Our final Lee County score. Actually, we had a few more. Texaco beat the Eunice girls 55-19. So that's it for the scores. And again, we're excited about this game here in Roswell tonight. 68-66. Your Hobbs Eagles with the win on the road. I'd like to thank Tiffany Stuber and Evie Stuber back at the station tonight. For myself, Ty Friend here in Roswell. We will see you Friday night in Carlsbad. Pre-game show at 6:45. The tip-off at 7. Have a great rest of a Tuesday night out there.
You're clear.
Thanks a lot, Tiff.